street football games we used to play that were actually professional training exercises. Before academies, before turf fields, before training cones, there was the street. And then there was football. The unrivaled and undisputed king of all sports. And no, thanks but no thanks, we won't call it soccer. If you grew up on any corner of any street within this blessed space we call Nigeria, it's certain you played the same street football games I am speaking of. Turns out, those games weren't just fun to play. They were actually world-class football training exercises that became adopted by the streets. In this video, we explore some of these street football games and teach you how to repurpose them for training your football team regardless of the level you coach. Number 1, Middleman. Middleman was a good street football game that required a minimum of 3 people to participate. The man in the middle was the clown who had to chase the ball from end to end as the other 2 players passed to and fro. Depending on the rules, all he or she needed was contact with the ball to change roles with the player who missed the pass. Sometimes, a misplaced pass meant the middleman could change. This game was usually more fun because of the songs, jeers and ridicule that usually accompanied the middleman's efforts to regain possession. Little did we know we were training in a rondo. Number 2, 1, 2 or 3 touch game. Minimum of 2 players and 2 goalposts required. Extra players would come in to replace losing party after the agreed number of goals were scored. Like a regular football game, ball handling was a foul and a penalty was usually given. However, some variations allowed the first touch to be handled by the arm. Each player was allowed a set number of touches on the ball on his turn provided the opposing player hadn't contacted the ball. Number 3, Monkey Post game. I hear you people call this one mocking post, but down in the streets, its undisputed nomenclature was and still remains monkey post. It took only 2 to tango for this game. Goals were anything from large stones to slip-ons or actual mocking posts. Players had to go against each other and try to outwit it by dribbling and then passing into the goals. In the advanced format, players had to hit the framework of the bar to score. It was usually so competitive to the point of violent tackles in situations where there was only one ball and one space to play and players numbered 20 and above. Teams exited after a set number of goals were conceded while winners stayed on to compete. Number 4, 4 corner post. 4 goals, 1 ball and 4 players in a rectangular grid. Players waiting outside. You just cannot help but fall in love with this game. 4 goals posts arranged in a cross around a rectangular area. 4 players attacking and defending each other with a touch limit on the ball. Sometimes, it was 1, sometimes 2 and sometimes 3 touches so far the ball stayed up and didn't bounce on the ground. It required fast thinking and calculation based on each player's profile. Players who were confident ball jugglers usually played a more proactive game and came out to contest for balls while those less confident retreated to their goals adopting a more cautious approach. The mocking songs, jeers, fleeting team-ups and betrayals were the crucial elements that made this game so fun and memorable. Number 5, corner game or cross and nod. It was here that we trained all the volleys, scissor kicks, bicycle kicks and of course, different types of headings. Flying headings, knockdowns, glancing headings and regular frontal headings, name it. This was the stage for it. It required just one medium to big-sized goal and a goalkeeper. Other players would set up in front of the goal waiting for a cross from the last player. Once the cross came, it was free for all chaos. The goalkeeper and players would all try to get the ball. Players trying to score, goalkeeper trying to prevent. The game would reset once a goal was scored, missed or goalkeeper clearance. Sometimes, The player who missed would change with the crosser before the next restart if there was no goal. If there was a goal, the scorer would become the goalkeeper. An elimination format was used sometimes to make it more interesting where scorers progressed into the next round. The last person not to score was usually eliminated and then the game restarts. Number 6. Colo game. If you played street football, you will agree that there was something almost visceral about getting nutmegged. It was the highest form of ridicule no player wished to ever suffer. For the victor, it was tantamount to spiritual ascension, greater than winning $1 million. For the victim, it was shame that followed you around like dropping feces and honest flies on a market day. Now imagine 10 players all chasing a ball with the intent of nutmegging one another. The rivalry and pettiness that came with that usually went hand in hand with some form of punishment for the victim in some quarters. All players would temporarily suspend the game to chase down and beat the player who was nutmegged for some seconds before the game continued. So, in addition to ridicule, street justice was taken out on the violated. Number 7. Ojio Ojo. If you grew up in Nigeria and played street football but don't know what Ojio was, it is time to admit your childhood was a scam. Ojio was the OG when it came to street football games. It was chaotic, it was frenetic, and it was unadulterated chaos. Unadulterated as used also implies without adults and their supervision. It didn't matter to us that Ojio wasn't the correct spelling of Ojo, rather, that additional factor seemed to make the game even more special for us. Similar to the corner game, the game involved the goalkeeper, a number of outfield players who could be as many as 20, yes, all trying to score the goalkeeper with just one ball. Whoever scored changed with goalkeeper and vice versa. In some cases, there would be a finishing line that outfield players could not cross before finishing. The game would start with an empty goal and all players in a huddle. One player would then throw the ball very high into the air. Before any contact with the ball is allowed, the ball must bounce 3 times while the players chant Ojo Ojo. After that, the free-for-all madness would commence. The first person to score automatically becomes the first goalkeeper who would then subsequently serve balls into the air for future restarts. So yeah, we weren't just playing. We were training, without cones, without boots, without coaches. Just the streets, a ball, and the love of football. Did you play street football? Which games from those times do you remember? Join in the fun by adding them in the comments.